they were laughing at the ridiculous position of the microphone on my head. I have to concur, it probably looks kind of ridiculous, but this is the only position that ensures that the microphone is not going to be rubbing on my shirt, and the distance between mouth and the sound it produces and the microphone and its collecting abilities is going to be constant, so there are not going to be any audio fluctuations. And if you haven't noticed yet, I've been walking around the workshop. That's because I have purchased a wireless microphone, which means that now I can walk around here and you are going to listen to my voice and its soothing capabilities even if I'm not in frame, which is kind of cool. Anyhow, if you haven't noticed yet, or for example you're kind of new people here, or you just don't care, you're just here to watch an old guy rumble about bicycle parts or whatever other reason, I love doing this. This is great. Anyhow, if you haven't noticed yet, updates on this channel have become a little bit scarce, and that's because I like trains and I've been suckered in the world of all things on rails for the last 6 or so weeks. And in the meantime I have forgotten about this channel. I have gained a little bit of weight, which is something I will probably need to address at some point. I think I need to point the camera at me now, don't I? Anyhow. And well, I'm back. And thusly, we need to start with the actual topic of this channel. Also, hello there. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is a wasted opportunity at creation of great content for this channel. And the story is like this. I've been toying with the bike of my kid, and unfortunately, having a negative coefficient when it comes to making stuff work, I broke it. I've been simply too eager to, well, clamp something with sufficient force, so I used quite a little bit more than I should have, and I broke these extensions. Now, let me show you the issue here. There were 2 such extensions over here on the other side of the tube, over the saddle here, and there was a shock, this one actually, that was attached to them like this. And unfortunately I used too narrow mounting hardware on the shock, and I have torqued this too much in order to take out a little bit of play that was here, and you can guess the results of this process. I broke one of those ears off, so then I broke the other one because there was no point of having them, and now I need to make some new mounting hardware for this particular part in order to rescue the frame. So the topic of today's video is how I'm going to achieve this lofty goal and possibly correct the geometry, because the bike has a rather ancient one, the bottom bracket is extremely high. So let's get on with it. Alright, so this is the design I came up with. This entire assembly is going to sit in that saddle in the frame you saw, on that spacing that is left after the original assembly has been destroyed. Now, this is the outside part, which is going to stabilize the entire assembly. This is the inside part, which is going to, well, attach to the shock. You can see there are 2 such parts here. The shock is going to go into this place. There is going to be 2 such outside parts which are going to stabilize the entire assembly, as I already told you. And there's going to be a sleeve inside. There's going to be a bolt going all the way through that's going to hold everything snugly together. And there's going to be one part which I need to machine later, which is going to be the actual mounting hardware of the shock. That's going to be made later. After spending some time in the mill, as you saw, these are the items which I'm going to now finish, because I obviously still need to deburr them. I need to enlarge these holes because they are too small. And while the machine was working, I turned this little sleeve which is going to go inside. And if you're wondering, the entire assembly is going to look more or less like this. There you go, something like this. And the shock is going to get mounted here. So after 20 minutes of finishing the part, this is the end result, and it is not really the end result because I've gotten, well, a little bit of a stroke of genius, because as you can see I wanted to put those plates on the outside. However, I thought to myself that I won't be needing to machine a new sleeve and a new mounting hardware for the shock if I put the outside plate, the inside plates to the outside, so I can fit the shock right here, maybe with a little shimmer here on there. However, in order to fit this, I need to make a place for this excess diameter of this mounting hardware. So, using the ever so reliable method of "dear God, don't do this at home because that was horrible," I managed to shave off some material from the inside, as you can see. However, there's another problem. This mounting hardware is slightly too wide. So I either need to put a shim here, or I need to shave off some material from the mounting hardware, from those sleeves. So I'm going to shave some material from the sides here, because I want this width of this particular assembly to fit the bike. Okay, so here we are. This is the valley I want to install my parts in. Those are all the parts. They are in a usable state. Not really pretty, but that's not really important at this really moment. And I have taken the drive side crankset in order to make myself some space. I hope I'll be able to wiggle myself into there. However, if I can't, I always have the heavy artillery. So let's try to wiggle this in. And before you say anything, I am perfectly aware that it's going to be held solely with the force of friction. I'm not happy about this, however. My kid is most likely, and by most likely I mean I am absolutely 100% certain that she's not going to be jumping any doubles or tabletops. So this should be fine. She's using a suspension bike solely because she has certain special needs. So I need to take that into account when I was making her bike. I think this is going to be perfectly wiggleable, or at least I will be able to push it with the use of this threaded rod. And of course a little bit of violence, because violence solves every problem. At least when it comes to bicycles. Although, like this. Although your results may vary. What's this about? Where are you there? I am quite deep on the other side. Now I think I need to rubber mallet my way from the non-drive side, because this tub is a little bit too shallow. Violence solves every problem. You know what I should do? I should put a tab here so it's going to hold this snugly. Alright, I have locked the other side, so now when I am working on this nut here, I am actually pulling this one in, but before I go all the way through, I need to align the shock holes before I am in a position I won't be able to move anything. I think it's aligned. You know, eyeballing stuff is the very legit method of getting things inside. Now, the question is, are we inside or are we centered sufficiently for this to work? Because if we aren't, then there is going to be a stop rubber mallet time once again. Okay, but I think this is going to be fine. Ta-da! This is the end result. I hope it's not going to blow up on me, although it's going to blow up on someone else, which is even worse considering. Anyhow, the only thing I'm iffy about this is these bolts are kinda ugly and the entire thing is held by friction over this area, so this might prove to be a problem. I may be needing to make a bracket that's going to hold it to this entire, well, valley kinda thing. Anyhow, I think this is finished, so let's go to the epilogue of this video. Alright, so here we are, this is the finished product, this is the bike my kid is going to be riding in the next few months, then it's going to grow up on her, because I'm going to use a full suspension travel. Because you see, the point of this entire project wasn't just to repair this mount here, but also to lower the bottom bracket of the entire thing, because my daughter isn't yet tall enough to mount the bike correctly. You can even see that I managed, or I was forced to mount the seat post with a forward position in order to get her closer to the bars. I am, well, preparing the bike to be used for 4 or 5 years, so once it's done, or once she's done with it, talking is hard. Once she's done with it, she's going to be somewhere around here with a seat and something longer, maybe possibly with the stem. Anyhow, I managed to get the bottom bracket from 35-ish centimeters to 31 centimeters, which I think is a pretty good score, or pretty good result of the entire process. And considering that these old school 26-inch really small frames are kind of rare to get, I'm happy with it, and well, if it works out, I'm going to be happy. Anyhow, this is the project, and I think I have nothing more to say about this, even though for some reason I feel this urge to continue talking, so I'm going to stop. Thank you for your undivided attention, I hope you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you still haven't, don't unsubscribe if you have, and I hope to see you in the next one.